Today we learn about the equilibria of chemical reactions. With what speed A and B is reacting to give C and D, it is applicable only concentration of reactant and product attain constant value. Now what is the meaning of homogeneous equilibrium? The rate of the reaction is directly proportional to the product of active masses. Hello my dear students, welcome back to the session 2 on the chapter equilibrium. Last class we studied about classification of equilibria and we went into the details of physical equilibria, that is 5 different types of physical equilibrium, isn't it? Today we learn about the equilibria of chemical reactions. As I had explained about the type of reactions, they are of two types, that is reversible reactions and irreversible reactions. So examples for reversible reaction I have given here, where calcium carbonate, which is a solid, will decompose to give calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. If carbon dioxide gas is still there in the closed system, then the carbon dioxide gas can react back with calcium oxide to form calcium carbonate. So it's a reversible reaction provided carbon dioxide gas is not let off to escape. Okay. Again, nitrogen gas reacts with hydrogen gas to give ammonia. Similarly, ammonia can decompose to give nitrogen and hydrogen back. So there is a forward reaction as well as the backward reaction which is possible. Such reactions we call them as reversible reactions. Some examples for irreversible reactions are magnesium when it reacts with oxygen. Magnesium when it reacts with oxygen forms magnesium oxide. It is an irreversible reaction. I cannot take magnesium oxide and then get oxygen or magnesium under similar conditions. Okay, so we call such reactions are irreversible reaction. That is only one forward reaction is there. Reactants form products, that's all. Products cannot give back the reactants. Okay, such reactions we call it as irreversible reactions. Next we will go into the details of chemical equilibrium or equilibrium in chemical process. To understand what is this chemical equilibrium, I'll just take an example of A plus B gives C plus D. Always remember, for a reversible reaction, you have to put an arrow mark showing the forward reaction and one more arrow which comes backwards showing that it's a backward reaction is possible. If it is an irreversible reaction, we just put one arrow mark, that's all. Okay, that is from the reactants towards the product side. So here I am taking an reversible reaction where A and B are called as reactants and C and D are called as the products. So when I start the reaction, what happens? The concentration of the reactants are more. That is initially, okay? I don't have the products which is formed, isn't it? So I have only the A and B and the concentration of A and B also is very high. As time passes by, that is at T is equal to 0, I'll take the concentration of both are very high. As time passes by, slowly the reactants will react with one another to form products, correct? So A plus B will react to form C plus D. So what happens here? As time passes by, okay, the molar concentration of the reactants start decreasing and the products start increasing, okay? And at one particular time, if you see, the reactant concentration as well as the product concentration looks like it will not change further. And at that point, we call the system has attained equilibrium. So what happens initially? Initially, concentration of A and B, that is the reactants, will be higher and the products are not yet formed, so it is 0. That is at time t is equal to 0. As time passes by, maybe after 5 minutes or after 10 minutes, the concentration of reactant has reducing slowly and the concentration of the product is slowly increasing. And at one particular time, okay, the concentration of the reactants and the products will start becoming constant or they will not change further. And at that point, we call the system has attained or the chemical reaction has attained equilibrium. Okay, you can see in this graph, I've taken concentration on the y-axis and time on the x-axis. So here you can see initially the concentration of A or B, the reactants, it is high. As time passes by, it is slowly reducing and then after a particular point of time, it is straight. You can see it's a straight line, isn't it? Similarly, if I take product and if I put it in the same graph, initially the concentration is 0. So it's starting from 0. Okay. And slowly as time passes by, concentration increases and finally it becomes constant. So there is a point at which or the time from which you see the concentration of the reactants are also same, products are also same. It's straight line, no change is there. And that state, we call it as the equilibrium state. Okay. Or I can also put it in the form of a definition like this. Chemical equilibrium is such a state of any reversible reaction in which the velocity of the forward reaction is equal to the velocity of the backward reaction, such that concentration of the reactants and products do not change with time in this state. So what is happening here? With what speed A and B is reacting to give C and D, with the same velocity or same rate C and D is reacting back to give A and B. So both the reactions are happening at the same rate at chemical equilibrium state. So we can define it as chemical equilibrium is a state of a reversible reaction in which velocity or the rate of the forward reaction is equal to the rate of the backward reaction, such that the concentration of the reactants and the products do not change with time. Okay. Now, we call such equilibrium as dynamic equilibrium. Why? That is, justify chemical equilibrium as dynamic. Why do we call it as dynamic equilibrium? At equilibrium, the concentration of the reactants and products remain constant, but rate of the forward and the backward reactions are equal. Hence, equilibrium is said to be dynamic. See, when you look into the reactants, the concentration, they are not changing at all. That doesn't mean that the reaction has stopped. What is happening? The forward reaction is also taking place and the backward reaction also is taking place, but it is at the same rate. Thus, at this state, we call it as equilibrium is dynamic because it is equal. The rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. So, I hope you have understood what does chemical equilibrium actually mean. Next, we will be learning the characteristics of chemical equilibrium in chemical process. First characteristic is, I told you all, chemical equilibrium is dynamic. That is, the rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction, and also the concentration of the reactants and product do not change with time at this state. Okay, so that is the first thing. Next, at equilibrium, the concentration don't change with time. I've already told that. Next, the catalyst has no effect on the position of equilibrium, because when you add a catalyst, it will increase the speed of the forward reaction as well as the backward reaction in the same extent. So, the equilibrium state is attained fast. For example, for a reaction to come to the equilibrium state, if it would have required 20 minutes, by adding a catalyst, it will come or it will attain equilibrium within 10 minutes. Okay, that is because catalyst is increased forward reaction as well as the backward reaction. Thus, catalyst has no effect on the position of the equilibrium. Equilibrium it will not disturb, but it will attain faster, that's all. Okay, next is position of the chemical equilibrium can be disturbed by varying pressure, temperature, concentration, etc. So, if I vary the pressure, temperature or concentration, the position of the equilibrium can be varied. So I can change the concentration of the reactants or the products, or I can just increase the temperature or decrease the pressure, then the equilibrium can be disturbed. Next is, it is applicable only concentration of reactant and product attain constant value. Only the concentration of the reactants and product attain constant value, only that is applicable, not anything else. Okay. Next is, it is independent of the initial concentration of the reactant and product, but it is dependent on the temperature. So temperature can disturb the equilibrium, state of equilibrium, but of course, what is the initial concentration of the reactants or the products will not affect the equilibrium position. So what will affect? Temperature will affect, but the initial concentration will not affect the position of the equilibrium. Okay, so these are some of the characteristics of chemical equilibrium. Next is types of chemical equilibria. There are two types of chemical equilibria. One is homogeneous equilibrium. Next is heterogeneous equilibrium. Now, what is the meaning of homogeneous equilibrium? Equilibrium is said to be homogeneous if reactants and products are in the same phase. See here in this example, hydrogen is a gas, iodine is a gas, hydrogen iodide also is a gas. So what happens? The reactants as well as the product have the same phase. So it is homogeneous equilibrium. Second example also I have taken, nitrogen, hydrogen and ammonia. All the three are in the gaseous phase, isn't it? So here it is again homogeneous equilibrium. Heterogeneous equilibrium means when the reactants and the products are not on the same phase, they are in the different phase, then we call it as heterogeneous equilibrium. For example, calcium carbonate is a solid, calcium oxide is a solid, but carbon dioxide is a gas. So everything is not in the same phase. Similarly, NH4HS is a solid, but ammonia is a gas, H2S is a gas. Again, they are in different phases, isn't it? Thus, it is heterogeneous equilibrium. Next, we will do about law of mass action. It is a very important law of mass action, or it's also called as law of equilibria. Okay, what does this law exactly tell? The rate of the reaction is directly proportional to the product of active masses of the reactant at constant temperature. So what does it tell? The rate of the reaction, that is the speed of the reaction, is directly proportional to the product of the active masses of the reactant. Now what is this active masses? Active masses means, if I have to tell in simple word, it is just the molar concentration of the reactants. Okay. So, for example, if I take a reversible reaction A plus B giving C and D, where small letter A and B are stoichiometric coefficient, C and D are also stoichiometric coefficient. What is stoichiometric coefficient? It is nothing but the numbers what we are using for balancing the equation. Okay. So, if this is a particular reaction which is conducted in a closed vessel and at a constant temperature. Now for this one I want to apply law of mass action. Law of mass action tells the rate of the reaction. Now I'll just take the forward reaction, okay. So the rate of the reaction R, F I have written because I am considering only for forward. See, it's a reversible reaction. So forward igu baribodu, backward igu baribodu. So I can write for forward reaction as well as for the backward reaction. So now I am writing only for the forward reaction. I am applying the law of mass action. Okay. So RF is the rate of the forward reaction, which is directly proportional to the active masses of the reactant. Now what is active masses? I told you it is molar concentration. And what are the reactants? A and B. So I'll write A into B. Now molar concentration, I will always write it in the square bracket. When there it is a square bracket, it's mole per liter, or I can tell it as molar concentration. Okay, so rate of the reaction is directly proportional to the molar concentration of A into molar concentration of B, raised to their appropriate powers. Now, what is this raised to the appropriate power? It is nothing but the stoichiometric coefficient will go as the powers. Okay, so R, rate of the reaction, is directly proportional to the product multiplication. You have to do product of the molar concentration of the reactants or the active masses of the reactants. So molar concentration of A into molar concentration of B raised to the appropriate powers, that is the stoichiometric coefficient. Now for example, if it is a gas, then what is the active masses? I have to take it as the pressure, partial pressure I have to take if it is a gas. And if it is a solid or a liquid which is reacting, then molar concentration I can take. Okay, moles per liter I can take, especially if it is a solution. Okay, and if it is a solid in its elemental state, okay, then we take it as 1. Okay, unity we have to take. So now to remove the proportionality, I have put a constant called as Kf, which is called as the velocity constant of forward reaction. More detail about this I'll explain in the derivation. Okay, so we learn the derivation. I hope you have understood this. Derive equilibrium constant expression Kc. So what is this equilibrium constant expression Kc? We have to learn. So first I will take a reversible reaction as I explained previously. A plus B giving C plus D, where small letter A, B, C, D are the stoichiometric coefficient. Capital A and B are called as the reactants. C and D are called as the product. And if I write it like this, it is the molar concentration of the reactants and the products, that is in the square bracket if I write. So I'll apply law of mass action. First for forward reaction I'll apply. So rate of the forward reaction is directly proportional to molar concentration of A and B raised to the power AB. That is the stoichiometric coefficient. To remove the proportionality, I put a constant called as Kf, which is the velocity constant of forward reaction. Fine. Understood till here? Next, I will write the same applying law of mass action for the same reaction for backward reaction now. Okay. So, RB I write, small letter b when I write, it is backward reaction. See, as a subscript I have written, okay, is proportional to molar concentration of C and D. Now, why for backward reaction I have taken C and D? Now, for forward reaction, A plus B is the reactant which is giving C plus D. For backward reaction, which is the reactant? It is C and D, no? C and D is reacting to give A plus B. Correct? So, for backward reaction, C and D are the reactants. That is why I am writing molar concentration of C into molar concentration of D raised to their stoichiometric coefficient. I hope you have understood. To remove the proportionality, I put a constant called as Kb, which is the velocity constant of backward reaction. Okay. So, I have got the rate constant of the forward reaction Kf and rate constant of the backward reaction, and I have got these two equations Rf and Rb. Correct? So, next what we are doing? At equilibrium, we know that rate of forward reaction is equal to rate of backward reaction. Correct? And rate of forward reaction Rf, what did I get? I got it as Kf, molar concentration of A to the power A, B to the power B. And I got Rb as Kb, C to the power C and D to the power D. Correct? So now at equilibrium, I know that what happens at equilibrium state? Rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. So Rf is equal to Rb. Now what is Rf? I have written here. What is Rb is written. Now I'll just have to rearrange the equation. I take A and B onto the denominator and Kb I get to the denominator on the other side. Now Kf by Kb is called as the equilibrium constant. That is the rate constant of the forward reaction by the rate constant of the backward reaction is called as the equilibrium constant Kc, or equilibrium constant Kc can be told as it is the ratio of molar concentration of the products by the molar concentration of the reactants raised to their appropriate powers from a balanced chemical equation. Okay, so what I can tell, there are two ways of defining equilibrium constant. One is equilibrium constant is a ratio of velocity constant of a forward reaction to the velocity constant of the backward reaction, that is Kf by Kb. Or I can tell it as it is the ratio of product of the molar concentration of the products to the product of the molar concentration of the reactant raised to the power respective numbers of moles. That is nothing but the numbers from the balanced chemical equation. So I hope you have understood what do you mean by Kc, that is the equilibrium constant. Okay. Here I have given some of the examples how they will ask for the exam to write the Kc value. So what is it? Here I have an equation. This is the reactants, these are the products. And Kc is what? Molar, it's a product of the molar concentration of the products divided by the product of the molar concentration of the reactants, isn't it? So product is NH3. I have written molar concentration of NH3 to the power 2. Why? I have stoichiometric coefficient 2. Then I have written the reactants N2 and H2. Here there is 1 or there is nothing, so I have not written anything. It is a meaning that it is 1, and here it is 3, so here also raised to the power 3. So this is the Kc expression. Similarly, you can see for PCl5 and PCl3 plus Cl2, products as PCl3 and Cl2, nothing is there, no stoichiometry coefficients are there, so nothing is written as powers, and here it is PCl5. Next is hydrogen plus iodine to give 2 hydrogen iodide. The product is hydrogen iodide to raise to the power 2, then hydrogen and iodine. So this is how you write the expression for Kc. Okay. So next class we'll be learning about how to derive Kp expression. When it is gases, we have something called as Kp. So we'll be learning about it. Relationship between Kp and Kc and application of equilibrium constant we shall learn in the next class. So thank you, my dear children. Stay tuned, stay focused.